So welcome everyone to yet another bonus session as a part of bonus syllabus from IntelliLogic. And now let me tell you what new you are going to learn here as a bonus learning. So whatever knowledge you guys are having, whether you guys can do Apex programming and you write, for example, some kind of business logic into that, or you write some kind of calculation into that. In all these cases, one important thing you need to know is a best practice is to take care of that worst case scenario where some errors can come, and how to handle those errors or what to do in these situations that we are going to see now. Let me show you. Guys, okay, thank you for the whole. So now let me explain you that. So here the concept ideally we should learn in this case is how to handle the problems and how to work for that kind of scenarios, and in the technical language, those unknown issues in runtime while the code is running. If any unknown issue comes, then that's called as exception. And in this case, what kind of work you need to do or how you are going to implement the functionality of exception, that we are going to also see, like how you can handle this kind of scenarios. So there are three important blocks you need to understand for this, or three important steps for this process, how to handle exceptions. Pay attention. Salesforce says that whenever you are writing any kind of code, it is not guarantee that it's 100% perfect. It's possible because in many cases we have lots of workload. In many cases we have many unknown things, and then in some kind of specific cases your code will fail. And what will happen at that time? Your code will give some kind of red color error. So for example, let me just open any record, open a new record. Let me open a new record. It's opening the record, just wait. This is strange. Fine. Okay, not account. Let me open some other record because it's opening some Visual Force page. Let me open any standard page. Let's say contact and see here. So in this case, suppose because of your logic, let's say you have written trigger on contact object, and the common scenarios, some kind of common mistakes, instead of using before trigger, sometimes you write after trigger, or some kind of wrong scenario and error comes. So at that time what will happen? Some red color multiple lines of technical errors will come in this area, which will be confusing for customer. He will understand what's going on. What is that all red lines? Because definitely he doesn't know what is trigger, or he doesn't know what is before insert. He will just take a screenshot and send your manager that what's going on, what is this error. So Salesforce is, in this case, as you know, point number one, error can come. You cannot be always writing a perfect 100% perfect code. At that time, if any unknown error comes or any error comes, then the thing is that as usual, Salesforce will show here red colors, unclear lines, and that way also your customer will be confused. In this case, Salesforce says do one thing. Understand the concept that is nothing but today's topic called as exception handling. And Salesforce says that instead of error will come, that's for sure. It will definitely come by some kind of reason, because as I said, 100% perfect code no one can write in this industry. So at that time, instead of showing some kind of raw messages or hard to understand messages to your end user, you do one thing, you take care of this part. What to do? Tell Salesforce that wait, if such kind of error coming, any kind of error comes from my code, do one thing, don't show error message on the screen, red color lines, and do something like some kind of technical or kind of proper message. Let's say, sorry, some error came, we will come back to you after some time, or it looks some kind of issue happen, we will inform our technical person, something like this. So such kind of programming pattern is called as exception handling. How you can do this, how it's possible, let me explain you how you can do this activity. So for that reason, you need to first of all write a code in a different way. Means whatever you write, whatever knowledge you're having right now, just slightly different than that. Okay, how we can do this? Let me show you. So exceptions are what? Whenever any code fails or breaks, then Salesforce throws an error on the screen of user. This message is mostly raw and gives no clarity to user. Also, user gets unclear information which confuses him more. The ideal scenario is whenever any error occurs, then we need to handle it and present a user friendly message. For the same, or inform concerned technical person like a developer about this, than just confusing customer by giving red color lines, which is a purely technical statement. Okay, fine. Now let us see here. Let's try to understand now how to work on this. So to handle this situation, first you need to know what kind of errors are possible. First, see that what kind of errors are possible, or in short, we ideally need to know means types of exceptions. Okay, let's see that. Here are some famous types of exceptions. Exception can come from DML, list exception, null pointer exception, query exception, generic exception. We are going to see all. Let's see one by one. What kind of errors can come in the category of DML exception? Let's see this. And by the way, how to do handling of exception? So, or simple words, how to write code here after to handle the exception and take, or very simple word, that's fine, handle the exception. How you can do this? So here onwards, do one thing. Write your entire code in 3 blocks or 3 brackets. Try in that code from which you think error will come, write it. Second thing, here catch, instead of throwing error on the screen, write catch block here to sales and here, so Salesforce will not throw error on the screen, and Salesforce will assume that you will handle this situation, and Salesforce will realize it has no responsibility and won't do anything in this case, because you said you will handle, no? So Salesforce will do nothing. And how you can handle? Then you can show some kind of error message on the screen. Sir, please wait, some issue came, we will resolve. Or some technical issue came, please give us half an hour, etc. Instead of just giving some kind of raw technical messages. Okay. And what we can do? Show some simple message on screen, or send email to developer, anything you can do instead of that. Finally, now write this code which you want to perform at the extreme end. So that is, after try and catch scenario, if you want to do something at end, then write code here. This is optional to write any code here. Optional, you don't write also, that's fine, no problem. Okay, fine. Next, come down. So let's see some examples. Let's see handling exception in a generic way, means handling a code in a general way. Okay, how to handle a code in a general way. And let me tell you something about that. Also, let me show you first of all example of exception and how Salesforce will handle it. Let us see example of exception, how Salesforce will handle it. Okay, when we don't do anything. Okay, how Salesforce will handle it. I will do one thing. I will open one Visualforce page. Exception can come from any way. Okay, by the way, any way it can come. I will open a Visualforce page, maybe this one Visualforce page I will open. So this page is having dependency on this class. Okay, let me just show you. So this Visualforce page is having dependency on one Apex class. Let me just show you. And this one. Okay. Now let me open this class also and go to setup. I think I'm already having that class. And yes, this class is already available here in the recent work I have done. So I'm going to open this class also in the next page. Okay, now in this page, let me show you first of all what it's doing without doing any changes. Let me show you the current output or current functionality, and let's bring exception to that. So here it's asking me to create a enter new company record. Okay, let's say for example TCS I'm entering, and then custom save. What will happen if I click on custom save? It will come to this Apex class, which is the controller, by the way, for the Visualforce page, and in my save it will create a new account record by this DML. Okay, I got it. Let's now see the output with correct code. Let me enter here TCS and custom save. And if I go to the account tab now, it will, let me show you by refreshing again. If I now go to account tab, I'll just do one thing. here. Just give 1 minute. It is opening here. Let me click on account it, and now you can see here TCS is created. Okay, everything working fine. This is the correct code. Now let me bring some errors or some wrong code in that. What I will do, I will edit the Apex class. I will bring the problem intentionally exception. So in the account, it is very compulsory to mention the name of the account. This is a compulsory field, name. Okay, that only I will comment. It's a mandatory thing, it's a compulsory thing, and that only I'm going to comment. Okay, quick save. Okay, and now let's open another account record, and let's try to now let's open the Visual Force page again. Let's start the same thing again. Let's bring it again. And now I'm going to enter again. Let's say TCS again, for example. Okay, again I'm entering this record. I'm getting in the bracket TCS again. Now if you click on save, it will make some kind of exception. It will bring some kind of error either on the screen or either on the text. Unclear, unknown information, technically absolutely confusing statement for customers, and some kind of errors like Visual Force page errors. If that error is coming from some kind of triggers, then also it will show some kind of unknown messages or technically very difficult to understand message on the screen on the red color to customer, and these are called as exceptions. Salesforce says in this case you have to perform one activity, and that is modify your code, and Salesforce says write in the exception format. And how we can do this, let me show you. So what I'm going to do now here, I'm going to now proceed for that notes again, and let me show you. So how Salesforce will advise you. Salesforce says do one thing. In this case, Salesforce says, let me show you that code, and Salesforce says do one thing. So you understood the example. Now you can handle by this way. Salesforce says, okay, so let me just show you. So here we have seen my save function in extension code generates VFP error. Also, if error comes from trigger, it will show on a record entry page at top as well. Okay, that is something in red lines. So various kind of errors are there. So then what we can do in this case, let's see how we can handle this. Salesforce says do one thing, put your entire code. So for example this also, okay, so let me show you this also. Now let's bring code here also. So this code also is wrong. Okay, another example, I will give another example from developer console. I will give another error from developer console. What I will do, I will just write like this. This is the code. See now how it will give me error. Okay, what I'm doing now, I'm actually trying to create a string, but there is no value in that string. I have commented this, and now I'm trying to call a function name.length. So it's trying to see the length of the length of this string, but there is no data. It will throw exception. How? Let us see. Let me copy that code. Another example for you of exception, and this time I will go on to open developer console. And developer console got open. Then after that, click on this debug and open execute anonymous window. Let me show again. Click on debug, open execute anonymous window, and let's bring some error here also. Click on execute, and look at this, exception came. Okay, because your code is having no value, so it's throwing exception. And now as you understood different types of exception or in code way in developer console, let us see how ideally should write. So now let me tell you how you can take the corrective action. So let's take corrective actions now. First of all, handle exception by general way. Okay, what I can do now, put entire code in the try block. Let us do that, by the way, and I'm going to do that. I'm just going to write here try and then bracket, and try and bracket, and cut this entire code and put inside that try. Okay, done. And now here, let me show you. After that, write catch. Okay, and after that, write finally. Okay, so in the catch, what you can do, what you want to do if the error is coming, that you can perform. Let's say here we just want to write a system.debug statement. You can write an email to manager. You can show in any kind of message on the Visual Force page by using the show message functionality which is available in Visual Force page. You can send email, you can do whatever. Okay, we will just do system.debug because our main core area is to understand how to handle the exceptions. We will go for system.debug, and I will just copy this and I will just paste it here. And we are saying to Salesforce, that don't do anything now. So catch means telling Salesforce don't do anything, we will handle the matter. Okay, so catch is nothing but like saying don't do anything, we will handle the matter. So Salesforce will say okay, fine, you take care, I'm not going to do anything. And what you're handling, how you're handling, you're just showing a system.debug, something like that, or anything else you can do as per the project requirement. So in the system.debug there is one exception ex function that you can use for showing the error messages. But how that will come, ex message or ex variable? So your try block will pass one value to catch block that you can catch in a variable which is of type exception ex. So the way we can pass the parameters to functions, here it's same happening. It's passing the parameter to catch function. How? Automatically. You don't worry about this, this will work automatically. You don't worry about this, you don't need to do anything for this, it will come automatically. So for this catch function, automatically exception type of data will be sent, and the variable name is x. This is a variable name. If you want some more simple way, where x, that's also fine. You can write this also, this is a variable, and like this way, that's also fine. You can do that. Okay, and finally, in the final, if you want to mention something like this is option, so you can do anything here. Again, send email, or you can perform some kind of ending activity. You can perform anything like this. Okay, so now let me run, and now this time you will not get that kind of raw null pointer exception or any kind of pointer of any kind of exception, such kind of raw message. It will be completely simple, or in short, Salesforce will do nothing. Salesforce will say whatever you have written in the catch, that will work. Let us say execute. Now, any error you saw? No. Any exception? No. Any kind of raw message? No. Because Salesforce realized that you will do this. So Salesforce will say that now I have to do nothing for that. I don't care what's happening. You handle this. And if you see system.debug, yes, your message came because Salesforce gave you complete responsibility. Salesforce says whatever you wanted to do it, now I'm not going to come into the picture. And this way, we have written just a debug statement. You can write an error message on the screen, or you can do various activities like sending email to developer. That is a general way to handle the exception. Suppose you are showing on the screen here, assume by using Visual Force page error showing code, you are showing error to end user on screen, like, and that too generic error string, like for example something like this. some error came, some error came, we will resolve. The problem with this general message is this is absolutely unclear. Like customer will understand, find some problem happen. But what kind of problem? Did customer enter wrong data? Is the mistake of customer? Is your mistake? What is the mistake? That will be unclear to customers. So we need to go for some specific error messages. This is a basic level developer work. You are going to be the expert valuable asset in the company. So you should know the handling in a specific way. Give some proper message, clear message to end user that what is the issue. If it is from your developer. Now let me show you how actually we can do this. For that you need to understand the types of exceptions. So to give specific error message, we need to know types of exceptions. Also we need to know how we can do. Let us see. First one is a null pointer exception. Null pointer exception is, first of all, write everything in the try block. Here what you are going to do is, you know that if suppose from this code any kind of error comes which is can be the null pointer code, maybe here we are expecting some value. Assume that we are expecting some data from end user but we did not get and field is empty. Such kind of things can cause null pointer error, means there is no value, that's null. So you do one thing to get the idea whether the error came from this kind of reason only, then here you write in this case. Now let me just show you here, null pointer exception, and just give 1 minute. So just give 1 second. Okay, so in this case here, instead of giving a generic exception block like this, instead of that you write the null pointer exception block. You write this null pointer exception. So what will happen, listen carefully, the control will come into this block only if the error occurred in this code by some kind of null pointer issue. You have kept the blank value. Then in this case, instead of giving any kind of generic reason, you can also mention some kind of specific information like this to the user. You can show a message, show message to user, something like that. Seems you did not enter the needed data into Salesforce, something like this, because you know that if the control is coming here, it's only because of the null pointer exception. So this way we can write a specific more clear name. And for your knowledge, you can also like see here for system.debug internally for your knowledge that why there is coming for that. Okay, so this way you can handle. And let me also show you this code how it will work. See now here, because you are clearly telling that do this kind of execution only when the code is coming or error is coming because of some null pointer. So click on debug and just paste it here. Okay, and now click on execute and click on debug only. And look at this here. If you talk about the reason of the error, internal reason, you can see, so actually it came because attempt to dereference a null object, but that is for you. This is for you, for your internal understanding. But what about customer? For customer, you show some kind of message like this, that seems you did not enter the needed data by using some Visual Force page code. Okay, we can show error message on the screen by using Visual Force page code also. This is called as specific pattern of writing messages. What more different patterns we can have? Now suppose if any error is coming in your code because of some DML. Then you can do one thing, create a block with DML exception EX. So this code will run only when any DML error happens. So here, show end user a clear message seems record did not create update properly. Please check the data again. You entered. How clear this message is. Clearly user will understand what's going on and why, what mistake is happening. This kind of things will give more easy structure for user. Let me show you. So I'm going to now just copy this code and see what's going to happen. And if suppose you are going to generate this kind of error, now see the error. Actually there is a lead record we are creating, but we did not mention the compulsory field called as name and last name and company. These two fields are compulsory in lead, but that I'm not doing. So let me show you what error will come. Look at this. I'm highlighting this much part and only I'm executing this much. You can see now here exception is coming because required field is missing. But we should not show this kind of message to customer. Then what you will do, then you will handle it and you will say catch. Then Salesforce will stop doing anything, and what you will do, you can show this kind of message to user and this kind of things for you internally. Also you can handle execute, and you can see now it is giving no error, such kind of wrong messages or raw messages or unclear messages. And you can see for your own knowledge why the error came. So you can see some DML error came, we will take needed action. That also you can do for customer. Now let me make it more detailed. Pay attention and understand this is something more detailed. Now please note here this system.debug. Okay, so this message you keep it for customer. Okay, you keep it for customer. This kind of message you can keep it for customer, and for yourself you can use this to understand what is the reason of error. You can copy this because you also need to know internally what's happening. So this is for you, and please note this is for you and this is for client. You can do like this also. Okay, this kind of things you can write. So this way internally also you see what's happening. And second thing, show client a proper simple message. Some DML error message came, something like that. Okay, or here we will take needed action, or you can also say please see once data is entered fine, something like this. Anything, okay, your wish. Next, there is one more type of error which can come because of list. If the list is not properly handled, how you can do this? Let me show you. Let me give an example to you. So assume that this is the code. Okay, I'm going to copy only this much code and let me show you. This also is a possible error. So debug and look at this. So the problem is here I created a list, but I'm adding the value here 100. That's and also fine, but I'm going to just refer now. So right now the output of this is the list is something like this: 0 1 2 and 100 is here. But what I will do, I will write a code in such a way that it will try to refer something else which is not present in Salesforce, or mylist1. Now it's trying to refer the value mylist1, but actually there is nothing in this place and 100 is here. That is wrong. So that can cause list exception. Let me show you without writing try catch how Salesforce will handle it. Execute. And this is way how Salesforce is handling, by giving a raw message. This is Salesforce way of handling. But suppose you want to handle this, then in this case, let me just show you the ideal way for that. Just copy this code, and let me show you here. You can handle it like this way, or you can also do one thing. You can just, for you can go in this way, and here also, by the way, for you can just do like this way, and here show the end of the message some null pointer error came, which will we will take needed action. Or please see once all needed data is entered and nothing is blank. So mostly it comes for blank errors. What about list error? You can also say for the list scenario some kind of messages like this. You can write for yourself system.debug to get the information technically. This function will give you the information, or show the message to client some list error came, we will take needed action, or you can use another way, please see. Now this kind of things mostly happens for the coding way. Okay, so there is nothing from customer, so leave it and just give a message like this, some error came, we will take the action. That's it, the customer will wait for you or for your resolution. Okay, fine. And now let me copy the entire code and let me show you how it is going to work. Paste here, and now Salesforce will do nothing. Click on this, Salesforce will do nothing. And wait, I did not copy properly. Finally copied, this copied, and try. And okay, I did not properly catch. I did not catch the catch scenario. So catch here and put here, and this is a list exception. So you are going to mention here list exception, you can mention like this, and that kind of code you can copy and you can paste instead of this. Okay, and now after that, if any error comes in your code from the list exception, then Salesforce will say, okay Shekhar, I'm not going to do anything, you handle it because you said you will handle. And then the debug statement will come here, which you can see the message, what is the error coming, why it's coming, this is for you. And for the user, you say some internal error happened, we will get back to you, or some list error happened, whatever you want to show, simple statements to your customer. There is one more type of error which is called as query error. If your query is wrong, for example, look at this, let me copy these two lines and let me show you how error can be coming from queries also. Debug and write this. This is wrong query because I'm calling the records and there are so many records coming from lead, but I'm handling or I'm taking it in only one record. So that's the issue. Now here, please note that always remember, we need to understand here, click on execute and look at this. Errors are coming. Can you see errors are coming? So this is a raw message. If you want to make a message more easy for customer, then do one thing. Again, copy something like this, catch block, and here we will go for query exception scenario. And here the type of exception is query exception. So you just mention here, and error message you can get for you. This is for you, and for end client you can show like some error came in query, or you can say some internal error came, we will take the needed action, anything as per your company policy. Okay, and now what will happen if you copy this and such kind of code if you write, and no matter your code is wrong, you can see Salesforce will never throw any exception for the user. It will stop and it will allow you to do your necessary action. Then you can come to the debug only and you can see what's happening, what happened. Oh, list has more than one rows to assign, means there are many records are coming and you are trying to select in the one variable only. That's again going to be wrong. And the general way is this, which is not the, so general way, this is not the specific way. We need to write this for any such error which is not coming under above types of exception. So please note, if there are some kind of errors which is not coming under this type of exception, some generic errors are coming, then that's also possible. Then don't do one thing, don't mention this specific code, just mention exception ex and mention here. Now this is you can do for you, this is for you to get what is the problem, and for end user you can mention some error came, we will take action. Now because you also don't know what error came, because it's a generic exception block. So when this is also not satisfied, see, when it's not query error, it's not list error, it's not DML error, it's not null pointer error, at that time the control will come here, and you also don't know what's the reason. So you will see in the debug logs, and then after that you will see what is the problem, and then you will solve. Okay, so for such kind of generic scenarios we write this generic error message. And now let me show you the complete code, the ideal code you need to write in the project. So here, now in the try block, whatever logic or code you have, I'm just taking an example of lead, but whatever code can be there. Now you don't know in real time what will happen, because it will be not only one line code, it can be thousands of lines of code. So below try you write all the catches like this. So what will happen, if it is a kind of error like list, it will come here and it will show proper list error. If it is some kind of DML, so here let's say, let me just mention here, show specific list error message to end user. Okay, and if it is the DML error, okay, then do one thing, show some specific DML error to user, no problem. If it is a null pointer, then also show some kind of null pointer error for user. If it is a query error, then no problem, show some query error to the user. And it's a general one, generic one, then seems some error happen, not sure what, and show some kind of generic error message to user, because you also don't know what happened. And finally, if you want to do something at the extreme end, optional, if you want to do some kind of ending work, sending email to someone or whatever you want to do, or nothing, this control will come at the finally block at the extreme end. And this is how generally we need to write the code. So let me tell you the moral of the story. So the moral is, when suppose you have a code in the real-time project, it's possible it can make some kind of error on the runtime. And because of that, the possible issue, so let me show you here. So suppose you have some kind of code, it is very much possible it can have some kind of error at the runtime. So at that time, whatever error will come on the screen, that will be pretty much raw. Customer will not understand. So the raw error will come and customer will not understand what's happening. Salesforce says, do one thing, best practice is you handle, and say to Salesforce, don't go for raw error, I will handle it. Salesforce said, then for this, you must write try and catch block, and you write it. And then whenever error will come, Salesforce will call this functionality and Salesforce will do nothing. Now in the catch block, you write system.debug, your wish. You show an error message on the Visual Force page, your wish. You send email to developer, your wish. Salesforce will do nothing. And now this way, it is a generic way handling. This is a general way. If you want to handle in a specific way, then you can write various categories. If list error is coming, write some kind of different message. If DML error is coming, write some different message. If string or let's say it's kind of null pointer coming, then write some different message. But this way you can perform the things. And the last thing, the finally block, which is also there at the end. This finally block is optional. If you want to do something at the extreme end, which is something like sending email to developer that all the code work fine, or some errors can work on that, or maybe just doing some kind of debugging activity, which generally we don't do in the real-time project. In a rare case we use this finally block, but still if you want to use this, use it at the extreme end, otherwise keep it blank. And this way here we have done the activity. So please note, even though we are not writing any code in the finally block, best practice include that, keep it like that only, but write it final block, no matter you're not doing anything, write it as it is. Okay, so that's all with this bonus session. I hope you got some new knowledge by this, and please use this in your project whenever you can.